Next brother I'd like to share with you was one of my mentors, and that was Brother Charles Deal. Brother Deal came into my life when I was about, I'm say, 10, 11 years old, and that was because I was part of a day camp that went to Circle Pool twice a week during the summer. Brother Deal was the head lifeguard. He was in charge. He was the director of that Circle Pool, and you could see he was a tall, impeccable figure with a deep voice, and you could see him walking around checking out what you were supposed to be doing at the pool. I had asked Brother Deal. I wanted to go off this. There were 3 diving boards at Circle Pool. There were two on each side, but the center one was the big high diving board. Now, I could swim in 5 feet water, but I always had a security blanket that if I wanted to stop, I could stand up because it was like 5 feet of water. However, I always wanted to go off that high diving board, and I felt I could swim. So I said, Mr. Deal, I want to go off that high diving board. And I think I can swim, but just in case I have some issues, do I have your back to make sure that nothing, happens? He says, well, Lathan, he said to me, Lathan, if you think you can do it, you go right ahead. So I said, Mr. Deal, I'm going on the high diving board. He says, I got my eye on you. I went off the high diving board. I made my dive. I went into the water. I came up and I started swimming. I said, I can do it. I can do it. So Mr. Deal said, I knew all along you could do it, but you just had to prove it to yourself. As I got older, and this was during grammar school time, I went to high school, and I had Brother Deal as my science teacher, and I had him as my biology teacher. He was head of the science department. Mr. Deal was in charge of the track and cross country team, and it seems as though that all the brothers in high school, they just flocked to Mr. Deal, and I had told Mr. Deal that I wanted to be a part of I think it was the cross country. I was part of both the track and cross country team. So when I ran cross country, I remember my first day out, he had you running the hill. This is up Eastside Park, running the hills, running the steps. I mean, we did calisthenics up the yin yang. He was preparing us for things to come. So after I ran the course, I'll never forget this, it was a 3-mile course. I was exhausted after I did the hills and we all were exhausted. Did the hills and the steps and ran 3 miles. So now, when I thought it was all finished, Mr. Deal says, we're gonna run it again. I said, yeah, we're gonna run it again. And then to add insult to injury, we started running, and midway through the course, he's in his car with the bullhorn saying to me, Lathan, you gotta pick it up. You're dragging your feet. Lathan, pick it up, pick it up. I felt like saying, oh my gosh, this guy. But yeah, I just kept it to myself. But he was building endurance. He was making me a much stronger runner. And it paid off because in dual meets, we had a tremendous season, but his eyes on the prize was the Passaic Valley Conference Championship. The Passaic Valley Conference was 8 schools. It was Eastside, it was Central, which became Kennedy, Passaic Clifton, Elmwood Park, which was East Paterson then, Garfield, Lyndhurst, and East Rutherford. Now, these were the 8 schools. We met at Garrett Mountain, and Mr. Deal, he prepped us. He said, now, there's this guy, Mike Spina. I'll never forget the name. Mike Spina, he was at Lyndhurst. He said, you just let that guy go. He's an outstanding runner, but cross country, I want you guys to be grouped together. Let that guy go. Let him go. And he said the key to that is that I want to have the way the scoring is, you take your top 5 runners and you add the score up. And he says I want to make sure my runners are in that top 10. Well, because of his training and physical, the strength and test that he put us through, Garrett Mountain was a tough course, and at the last part of that course was a half mile. It was an excruciating hill. And of course, Mike Spina, he sped off. He was number one. But Mr. Deal's runners we had the number 2 runner, it was Jay Allen. I was number 3. We had the number 5 runner, number 7, and number 8. We had 6 in the top 10. We won the PBC by a landslide. And again, it's because of Mr. Deal. He said, this is what I'm talking about. I needed you guys to stick together, run that course, and stay within, make sure you come in that top 10. And we won the Passaic Valley Conference. And I still to this day, even when I do, this is how much this man has stayed on my mind. When I go to the gym, and Mr. Deal will always say, what you put in it is what you're going to get out of it. If you're cheating yourself, if you want to cheat yourself, you're not going to get anything out of it. So when I go to the gym, and I go 3 times a week, he stays in the back of my mind. I don't take any shortcuts. I put an hour and a half in there because he still stays with me. What you put in it is what you get out of it, and I don't take no shortcuts. And I just adore Mr. Deal very much.